Hey guys, David Patrick Green, davidpatrickgreen.com, hackhollywood.com. I'll just get this out of the way now. Please like, share, and subscribe, and comment in the comment section below. Ask me any questions you want, and please suggest any future videos. But I just want to get to the meat of the matter. I'm going to do a new format today. I've never done this before, and I'm honestly not even sure how this is going to go because I haven't thought about it too much. I just know the overall concept. So today I want to talk about, we're going to go to class today. I want to talk about the power of, what do you think? One. Okay? The power of one. Okay, so what am I talking about? Well, to me, the power of one is part of the entire Hack Hollywood philosophy, and that is that a meeting with a person that you want to get an audition from or you want to get an acting job from, which is one-on-one, is the ultimate way to get ahead in the business. It's by far the best way to get jobs, and I want to try and prove that with a little mathematics. And trust me, it's going to be a little rough, but let's just say you want to get one acting job, okay? One acting job. So to get that acting job, how many headshots do you think you're going to need to submit? Let's say 10 headshots to get, well, this is to get one audition, right? So you submit 10 headshots to get one audition. And then how many auditions do you think you need before you book an acting job? I mean, I could say 10 headshots. It's probably a lot more than that because most of the roles you're submitting yourself for or your agent is submitting you for, you're not right for, right? Your chances are not good even if they called you in. So your chances of getting called in are small too because, well, they don't know you, so they don't know whether they should call you in because they don't know anything about you, and your agents are not going to do much about that either because they don't know you that well because you really haven't spent a lot of time with them. You haven't spent a lot of one-on-one time with your agent probably. Okay, so there's a lot of factors involved with why a headshot is not going to help you that much, and most of it's because the people that are getting the headshot don't know anything about you. Let's also assume, which is probably true if you're just relatively new to the business, you don't have any professional acting credits. You might have a lot of student films and you might have done a lot of plays, but unless they are really well-known theaters that you've done the plays in, then nobody's really going to pay too much attention. You're just going to have a resume full of stuff, but nobody knows what to make of it. And you've probably played everything, from Hamlet to Ophelia and everything in between, at the school. You've done musicals, you've done it all. And really what it boils down to is people don't know what to make of you because they don't know you one-on-one, okay? So let's say, let's just call this an audition instead of a booking, okay? So it took 10 headshots to get an audition. How many auditions will it take to book a role? Like maybe, let's just say 10, okay? 10. I'd say it's probably closer, that could be 100 and that could be 100 or somewhere in between, right? But I'm just going to make it easy. So, to get one, you need 10 times 10, which equals 100, okay? So 100, you have, 100 headshots basically to get a booking. That's pretty generous, but whatever, that's fine. Now let's look at another approach that I would advocate, and this is implicating and implying the power of one, okay? So we know it takes 100 headshots to get one booking, okay? That's not even close, but just to be real, it's probably more like, this is probably actually more like 1 in 1,000 or maybe even 1 in 10,000, okay? Because if you think about it, if this number's 100, if it's 100 headshots to get one audition, 100 submissions. And this is at the professional level, okay? So people are submitting by the thousands all around the world now. And let's say this is 100. Well, let's say that's 10. So you have 1 in 1,000. If this is 100, then it's 1 in 10,000, okay? So, I'm just giving you a bit of a range because 100 may be too generous. Okay, so let's say you... Oh, and what is the purpose of all this? What is all this for, okay? This is all to book an acting job, right? But how do you book an acting job? How you have to send out the headshots and then you go into the audition. So what happens at the audition? This is very important right here, okay? The audition is somewhat beneficial to you. It can be helpful because it's a chance for you to represent yourself. But you could be representing yourself not in the way that is going to help you, because if you are wrong for the part that they've brought you in on, then you're potentially going to look bad instead of good. Okay, so there's that. So there's that randomness of sending in headshots to someone who has no idea who you are, and maybe you look the part from your picture, but when you come in, they're looking for someone who sounds like me, right? And let's say maybe you have a very soft voice and you're like, "Hi, how are you guys? I'm really happy to be here." And they're like, "Oh, from your picture, you're wearing a lumberjack shirt and you kind of had scruff. We thought you were more like a lumberjack type," or what have you. Or you could go in and you're like, "Hey, how's it going?" Like, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. You could have an English accent, a French accent. You could have a Spanish accent. All of these things, none of them come through in the headshot, okay? So this is the problem. Even though this is what you want the audition, well, you think you want the audition can actually backfire on you. The audition can actually end up hurting you rather than helping you when the person doesn't know who you are. Okay, and I'm giving you all this information for a very, very good reason, okay? And we're going to get to that right now. Now, let's say you came from another planet, okay? And you decided on this planet that you wanted to be an actor, but you have no exposure whatsoever to the current system that dominates or is predominantly explained as the way to get acting jobs, right? Which is online submissions and, going to casting director workshops, trying to get an agent, doing all these things before you really have anything to show for yourself. Okay, so you come from another planet and you just go, "All right, well, I'm here. What would I do if I wanted to become an actor?" And you might think, well, okay, let's be logical. And you can apply this to anything else. If you're not an actor and you're watching this, you can apply this to any other job, right? You want to get into an industry, what do? You acquire the skills to do a job, and you don't even have to have that much in the way of skills. You could just show up with entry-level skills, like janitorial skills, because you can start in any company as the janitor and move your way up to CEO. There are plenty of examples of that very thing happening, okay? So don't kid yourself. So whatever you're thinking about, whatever occupation, this still applies, because headshots and online submissions are just like online job boards, okay? Most of the jobs never make it to the job boards. They are taken before, but I don't want to jump ahead. So let's say, okay, so we know that we want to get in front of people, but we want to get in front of people in the right way, which basically means we know we are right for the part. Well, we already know we're right for the part if we were in charge of all this. But if you let your agent do it, who knows what they're going to submit you on. They tend to have more of an approach of, throw spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks. Whatever you are will stick. But that means you're pissing off a lot of people along the way who brought you in under the pretenses that your agent submitted you because you would be good for the part and you weren't. So maybe the one person that you got to that you were right for the part, out of that one person, there's also 9 others, let's say, 9 others or 900 others or however many others well, let's say 9 others that you maybe auditioned for after submitting thousands of headshots, but only one of them you were actually right for the part. Okay, so you've potentially, after sending out thousands of headshots, you've potentially alienated, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8, or maybe even 9 or 10 out of them. Maybe you've alienated them all, and all of your efforts have only gone to convince these people that you've been submitting to that you are not right for those parts. And in fact, they may even think you're not a good actor. If nothing else, they think you have wasted their time. And trust me, they're not thinking the agent has wasted their time, because the agent has multiple clients and they kind of have to maintain this symbiotic relationship, you know. Neither of them really like it particularly, but they both need each other. You, the actor, is the one thing they don't really need, because there's always a steady supply of actors out there. Okay, so how do we change this formula? How do we get this number closer to this number? Okay, 10,000 swings at the bat versus one swing and one hit. Okay, so what we do is we are one, and we walk in somewhere else and we introduce ourselves. Okay, now we have a relationship, and we are free to maintain that relationship, develop that relationship any way we want, just like you can when you are in an interview, just like you can with your friends, right? You get to be who you are. It's one-on-one. Okay, now you're not going to be obviously a fit for all of these parts that are out there. So, you know, maybe you're a fit for 1 in 10 parts, but now that they know you, when your agent or you submit yourself online again, it's not the same randomness, okay? It's not the 1 in 10 times 10, which is 1 in 100. Now we actually maybe doubled our chances. Okay, so 1 in 10 is going to lead to a part, let's say, if you meet 10 producers, directors, even casting directors, because they get a chance to know you and you can tell them what you're like and they can see what you're like, because you, the person, is so much different than you, the headshot. Okay? So let's say our chances, I don't know, how much better are your chances when you know someone versus submitting a headshot? Let's just think about it in the real world. If you just sent someone a picture with a relatively blank or irrelevant resume, and let's say you wanted a job that normally requires high-level skills, accounting, law, medicine, scuba diving instructor, welder. Okay, if you walked in and if you sent someone a picture of yourself, but you didn't have a really good resume and they had never met you, you know, what would be the difference between just doing that blindly and if you sent your materials to someone you already knew, someone who knew what you sounded like, what you look like in 3 dimensions, knows your body type, knows your physicality, you know, are you rough and tumble, are you delicate, are you fragile, are you masculine, are you feminine? Whatever it is, they know that, right? So how many times greater of a chance is that? I mean, I could say 2, but that seems hardly fair. I'm going to say your chances are 4 times better with someone that you know. And since they already know you, you've got a relationship. We kind of are skipping the headshot part of things here. So we can cross out that 10, and we're really just working with the 10 auditions. Okay? Because we don't have to submit 10 times to somebody that we already know. We can submit 1 time because we know we're right for the part and they know we're right for the part. So I'm taking off 10, and the relationship gives us maybe a 4 times better chance. So now we're looking at 10 over 4. So that's 5 over 2 right? 10 into 2 is 5, and 2 into 10 is 5, and 2 into 4 is 2. So 5 seconds, 2 goes into 5 2.5 times. My math skills are not what they used to be. Okay, so with a little bit of, we're not talking science statistics, but based on common sense, if you have relationships with people, it's possible you could be up for a role. You could book a role every 2.5 times you go in. Okay? So now you're looking at 2.5 versus anywhere from 100 to 1,000 to 10,000. Okay? So what do you think is better? 1 in 2.5 or 1 in 10,000? Or anything less. If it's 10 or 100 or 1,000 or 10,000, 2.5 is still a lot better. So that's the whole purpose of all of this other stuff, right? It's to get the meeting. The meeting is what gets you the job. The headshot doesn't get you the job, and the headshot doesn't really get you the meeting. What gets you the meeting is meeting someone. Like if you want to meet someone, you can create an elaborate marketing plan, or you can just go and meet them. And since the whole purpose of the elaborate marketing plan is to meet them, and they have no idea from all this other material, if it's not, recognizable professionally to them, they don't know what to make of it. So then you're leaving it up to them to figure out what to do with you. And you're going to pray that they're going to jump through the mental hoops of figuring out who you are and what to do with you. And that's fine. You can do that. But then you're putting all the burden on them. Whereas if you walk in the door and introduce yourself and tell them who you are, then they can immediately see who you are. And they can either say right that moment, you know what, there is something that you would be right for. Or there isn't something for you right now, but, at least I know you. And so if I see your materials, it will mean something to me. So the chances of me calling you in are much higher. Now I'm verbalizing what a producer or a director or a casting director is subconsciously thinking. Even if you annoy them, if you show up and they tell you to get lost, that's fine, because you now are in their brain far more than if you had just submitted a picture of yourself with no explanation. And don't kid yourself, guys. I know a lot of you are saying, yeah, well, I'm also submitting a demo reel. That may be true as well. But if they don't want to bring you in based on their headshot, why are they going to want to watch your reel? There's very little chance that they're going to get to your reel. Because if they've already dismissed you based on your headshot, you don't look right or you don't have the experience or what have you, they're not going to look at your reel. And then even if they do look at your reel, what are the chances that there's something on your reel that is actually going to help you rather than hurt you? Because if the work you've done in the past isn't reflective of the part you're trying to get now, or if you're a better actor now, or if it's boring, or maybe the part that's relevant to the part you're trying to audition for now is so deep into your reel they never even see it, it's just not improving your chances. And there's actually, again, another chance that it could hurt you more than it helps you. And I know you guys don't think of that because people just say things like, get a reel, get headshots. They just say it, but they don't think it through. And a lot of this stuff can hurt you far more than it can help you. And I would say in general, it does. When you start to have a career is when people start to know who you are, either because of one-on-one relationships or because of referrals or because they've seen you on TV or movies or stage or whatever your chosen medium is. Okay, so if you want to improve your chances in this game, you've got to learn to create one-on-one connections, because that trumps everything else. And when you have a relationship and they know who you are, if you see that they're producing something you'd be interested in, then you can contact them, or you can have your agent contact them, but I don't know why you would do that if you can contact them yourself. And you can say, hey, remember me? I came in and you didn't think I was right for this part. So I just saw that you're producing this type of movie, and here's why I believe I'd be a great fit for it. Can I buy you a coffee? Let me talk to you about it. Or let me send you a clip that leads me to believe that I would be a good fit for this project, okay? So much more personal, and personal is everything in this business and in almost every other business. But this is one of the few businesses where you really can't tell if somebody can do something until you see them do it, because every single job is different, right? Like, if I think Zac Efron's a great actor, I don't know if he can do what I need him to do. I can love him, but I can't necessarily say, hey, Zach, can you do this? He might be able to do it amazingly, better than anyone else. But that's what I have to get him to come in and show me. And I could be wrong. And so that's why actors are not like, other jobs. They're not like accountants and lawyers, because if it says you went to law school, that means something. If it says you went to acting school, that doesn't mean anything to anyone. Okay, it doesn't matter if you went to Harvard or Juilliard. It doesn't mean anything to anyone, because they don't know who you are. Okay, and your reel may or may not help you, but if you have a relationship with someone, then you can go back and forth with them, tell them what you have to offer. Hey, I've got something I want to send you. Even if you don't know that there's a project that's out there, it's a great way to stay in touch and say, hey, I want to send you a clip. Can you tell me what you think of it? Okay, guys, so look, to recap, the power of one can turn 10,000 submissions into 10,000 submissions, which gets you one acting job. You can change that with the power of one into 2.5 relationships / auditions into one acting job. Because when people know you, guess what? They want to hire you. They want to hire people they know. So all things being equal, if it's up between you and 2 other guys or 2 other girls or what have you, but they know you, then they're going to hire you without hesitation, because they know what they're getting. Okay? And this is what, people complain about nepotism, right? But people hire their relatives not just to satisfy their brother or their sister, but also because they know what they're getting, and they know that they can talk to this person, and then they know how they can talk to them, and whether they're sensitive or whether they are, they know everything about them, right? They've spent Christmases and Thanksgivings and Easters and all that stuff with them. So they know them. So, there are lots of reasons why people hire people that they know. But the main thing is that they know them. They know what they're getting. And if a problem arises, they know they can deal with it. They can say, hey, I didn't like the way you did that. Can you do it over? And they're like, and if it's your relative, hopefully they're like, yeah, okay, sorry, Uncle John or whatever. Whereas when you get some stranger coming in, they're a wild card. You have no idea what's going to happen. So I'm just trying to give you more and more examples so you will understand how powerful it is to approach people face to face and develop a relationship with them. It doesn't matter how well or badly it goes, because once they know you, okay? And no matter how badly things go, it's fixable. Whereas if they don't know who you are, there's nothing to fix. You're nothing to them, okay? It's much better to be something that they dislike rather than something they have no knowledge of, because we are far more scared of things we don't know than we are of known quantities, right? If you walk down the street and you know that there's a dog that bit you, then you're scared, right? But you look at that dog and you go, I know what I'm getting. That dog bit me. It didn't really hurt me that badly, but whatever, I'm going to avoid that dog. I'm going to walk around it. I'm going to, feed it. I'm going to do something because I know what I'm getting. Whereas if you come across a stray dog that you have never come across before, especially if you've already been bitten by another stray dog, then you are going to be terrified of them. And this is literally the way the industry treats random headshots. They are terrified of them. They know nothing about them. They've been burned before. They've met terrible, crazy actors before, or people that were untrained or untalented that got themselves into the room for all the wrong reasons and totally alienated themselves from the producers, the directors, the casting directors, and ultimately their agents, who are probably going to drop them fairly soon. So guys, try to reverse engineer the process. Rather than doing all of these things to get this one job or even one interview, just skip it all, because the whole point of all this stuff is to get the interview. So just show up, and every 2.5 times you show up, I believe you can get a job if it is with someone that you know. Okay, guys, I hope you like this. I'll just repeat myself. Please give me questions, comments, or suggestions in the suggestion box below. Otherwise, have an awesome one, and thanks for sticking with me for so long. I've never really done one of these. It's kind of fun, but it's a little daunting, so I hope it came across the way I hoped. But I think you get it ultimately, right? It's the power of one. One-on-one is the point of everything else you do. So whenever possible, skip all the other stuff and just go straight to their office and say, hey, how are you? This is what I can do for you. And this is why I think I can do it for you. Do some homework, right? Understand the person. And look, don't try and get auditions for stuff if you don't think you're, first of all, right for it. And second of all, if you don't have the skills for it, okay? So make sure you know at what level your skills are so you don't waste people's time, because if you waste people's time, they won't forget that and they won't be calling on you again soon. All right, guys, that's it for now. Thanks so much, and I will talk to you later.